Welcome to the AI Daily Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're doing something a bit different. This entire deep dive into the top 5 AI news stories from today, Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. It's been researched and generated completely by AI.
That's right. It's fascinating, isn't it? Using the tech we're discussing to actually create the discussion itself.
Exactly. Our mission today is pretty simple. Cut through all the noise, the sheer volume of AI news, and bring you what we think are the most important, most intriguing developments.
All boiled down, hopefully in a way that's easy to digest. No overwhelm.
That's the plan. Concise but thorough. So let's jump right in.
Okay, where do we start?
First up, Anthropic, the AI company started by former OpenAI folks.
Oh, Claude.
Right. Well, the word is they're about to launch a voice mode for Claude. Looks like they're really trying to, step up their game against ChatGPT.
Makes sense. Voice is becoming huge. And reports are saying this could launch, as early as this month?
That's the rumor. And get this, they're apparently planning 3 different English voice styles. They're calling them Mellow, Airy, and Buttery.
Buttery. That's an interesting choice of word.
Isn't it? Makes you wonder what kind of vibe they're going for. Like, how much does the sound of the AI affect how we interact with it?
That's a really good point. It's not just about function, it's about the feel, the user experience. Giving people choice suggests they're thinking about that connection.
And we did hear their chief product officer, Mike Krieger, mention previously that voice is a useful modality. He said they were working on prototypes.
So this lines up. It wasn't totally out of the blue.
Apparently, an app researcher, M1 Astra, spotted it first in the iOS app code. Then a major news outlet verified it. Anthropic itself hasn't commented officially yet, though.
Standard playbook sometimes. But think about the impact. Voice makes AI interaction potentially much more natural, right? Less typing, more talking.
For sure. You can see applications in, say, customer support, maybe virtual assistants, accessibility too. That's a big one.
Definitely accessibility. And it comes alongside other Anthropic moves, like that new premium tier they launched, and a research-focused AI tool. They're building out their ecosystem.
They really are positioning themselves as a major rival.
And while OpenAI has voice in ChatGPT, Anthropic offering these distinct styles, Mellow, Airy, Buttery, that seems like their unique angle on it, giving users more control over the AI's personality, perhaps.
Could be. It taps into that wider trend, too. We're using voice for everything now. Smart speakers, cars.
It's just becoming a standard way to interact with tech, so adding it to a chatbot like Claude feels like the next logical step.
It'll be interesting to see how users respond, which voices become popular.
Yeah, what does Buttery actually sound like in practice? We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, let's shift gears. Story number 2, Google. They've just rolled out Veo 2.
Ah, yes, their AI video generator.
Right. It's now available to Gemini Advanced subscribers, so you type in text.
And out pops a video clip. 8 seconds long, 720p resolution.
Yeah, accessible through the Gemini interface on web and mobile. Google's talking up its ability to create stuff with cinematic realism.
Which sounds ambitious. They claim it's better at understanding, real-world physics, how people move, different kinds of subjects.
They gave some examples, like a pampered French bulldog by a pool and a mouse reading a book in a forest.
Okay, those definitely paint a picture. Helps you imagine the possibilities.
For sure. But it's not unlimited. Subscribers get a certain number of videos per month.
Good to know. A quota system.
Yeah.
And the videos are MP4s.
Yep. Standard MP4 format, easy to share. They even added a share button on mobile for platforms like TikTok and YouTube.
Makes sense. And importantly, they're including digital watermarks, Synth ID.
Oh, right, to show it's AI-generated transparency.
Exactly, which is becoming more and more crucial with this kind of tech. We should also remember Veo 2 wasn't brand new. It was in early access via Vertex AI before this, and part of YouTube's Dream Screen.
So this is more of a wider rollout to paying subscribers.
Precisely. And they also announced something called Whisk Animate.
Yeah, that's part of the Google One AI premium plan, too. It apparently turns still images into 8-second videos, builds on their existing Whisk tool.
So more AI creative tools from Google. They're clearly pushing hard in this generative media space.
Definitely seems like a major focus for them, redefining creative possibilities, as they say.
All right, what's next on the list?
Story 3 takes a turn into, well, maybe more serious territory. It's about the timelines for artificial general intelligence AGI getting shorter.
And potentially less focus on safety at the big AI labs. That's a worrying combination.
It really is. Just to recap, AGI is basically AI that can outperform humans on most tasks, right? General intelligence.
Correct. And some of the predictions mentioned are startlingly soon. We're talking Daniel Kokotajlo saying AI 2027.
Anthropic's Dario Amodei also suggested possibly by 2027. Even OpenAI's Sam Altman apparently feels they've conceptualized how to build it.
Wow. Incredibly fast. Google DeepMind's Demesis Abyss is a bit more conservative, maybe 5–10 years. Plausible by 2030. Still.
Still very soon in the grand scheme of things. And if these timelines are even close to accurate, the policy challenges are immense. Economic disruption, job displacement, social changes, ethical questions.
Massive. And you'd think shorter timelines would mean more focus on safety, not less. The potential downsides of super powerful AI are, well, potentially catastrophic.
Some Google DeepMind researchers even warned about a permanent end for humanity in worst-case scenarios. That's heavy stuff.
Extremely heavy. And people like Jack Clark from Anthropic have been pushing for things like mandatory third-party safety checks, stricter security.
But the report suggests maybe the opposite is happening, that labs are prioritizing speed.
Yeah, there are examples cited, like Google releasing Gemini 2.5 Pro without a safety report alongside it, OpenAI delaying assessments for a model called Deep Research, criticisms of Meta's Llama 4 system card not being thorough enough.
So why? Is it just the competition, the race to be first?
That seems to be a major factor. Safety testing, being cautious. It takes time. And time is seen as a disadvantage when you're racing rivals.
And governments, are they stepping in?
It's complicated. There's the whole geopolitical angle, right?
Yeah.
The U.S. wanting to stay ahead of China, for example, that might make them hesitant to impose really strict rules that could slow down their own companies.
So less regulation, maybe more self-regulation. Is that the trend?
It seems some execs, like Altman, might be leaning more that way now compared to earlier statements. International cooperation on safety rules is also mentioned, like U.S.-China treaties.
But given the current climate.
Exactly. Mutual distrust makes that really challenging.
So the bottom line is, AGI might be coming sooner than we thought, but the focus on making sure it's safe seems to be lagging behind.
That's the core tension highlighted, a potential recipe for major disruption if we're not prepared.
Okay, deep breath. Let's move to story number 4. This one's about how AI might actually be impacting the human brain.
Ah, the cognitive effects. This came up at a World Minds Forum, didn't it? With Rolf DeBelli and Daniela Russ from MIT.
Yeah, they were discussing how our constant interactions with AI might literally be reshaping how we think.
It's a profound question. Our brains are plastic, they adapt. So interacting heavily with something as powerful as AI, it's bound to have some effect.
And there's apparently already a study from OpenAI and MIT Media Lab looking at heavy ChatGPT users. They found something called problematic use.
Problematic use, what does that mean?
Things like signs of addiction, increased loneliness, even distress when the AI model gets updated or changed, and it got worse with more use.
Wow, that suggests a real emotional dependency can form.
The discussion even brought in philosophy, like Martin Buber's ideas, talking about a potential I-AI relationship, almost like AI becoming an artificial god for some people.
That's a powerful metaphor, and linking it to ideas about consciousness and free will, comparing AI losing power to human death.
Yeah, and the idea that people might actually mourn the loss of an AI they've bonded with, like losing a loved one, it sounds like science fiction, but maybe not.
It definitely points towards needing whole new areas of research in psychology and sociology to understand these human-AI relationships.
And they even speculated about future interactions with, like, extraterrestrial AI, whole new categories of relationships.
Okay, maybe let's stick to Earth for now. But the core concern raised seems very relevant today.
Which is?
That relying too much on AI could degrade our own abilities. Critical thinking, imagination, scientific innovation. Could these atrophy if we let AI do the heavy lifting?
Right. That's the big worry. They even offered a kind of bleak potential answer to the Fermi paradox. You know, why haven't we found aliens?
Don't tell me. AI.
The hypothesis was maybe other civilizations got addicted to their AI, lost ambition, stopped exploring space, and just faded away, a cautionary tale.
Yikes. That's a sobering thought.
But they did end on a slightly more hopeful note. Maybe finding alien AI built by natural intelligence could inspire us, show us how to coexist successfully with our own creations.
A possibility of a better outcome. It really highlights the choices we're making right now.
Okay, one last story. Let's bring it back down to earth, specifically to Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Bowling Green. What's happening there?
They're using AI in a really interesting way for local democracy, trying to understand what residents want for the city's future.
How are they doing that?
They used an online polling platform called Poll. is it uses machine learning. The city's growing fast, and they needed input for a new 25-year plan.
So AI-powered town hall, sort of. Who was behind it?
A county leader, Doug Gorman, and a consultant, Sam Ford, who knew the platform.
And how did it work for residents?
People could submit ideas anonymously, short ones, like tweets, under 140 characters. Then they voted on other people's ideas. It ran for about a month on a website.
Was it accessible?
Yeah, they had translations, and moderators checked things to keep it local and constructive.
Did people actually use it?
Get this, nearly 7,900 residents participated. About 2,000 submitted their own ideas. An AI tool from Google Jigsaw helped analyze all that data.
Wow, 7,900. That's a lot for a local initiative. What did the experts say?
They said that level of engagement, around 10% of residents, was pretty significant, especially compared to typical local election turnout. So what kind of ideas came up? What did people agree on?
Lots of practical stuff got broad support. More local healthcare specialists, attracting restaurants and grocery stores to the north side, preserving historic buildings.
Makes sense. Were there more contentious topics, too?
Oh, yeah. Things like recreational marijuana, adding SOGI protections to non-discrimination rules, more private school options. Those saw more disagreement.
But you said there was high agreement on many things.
Yes, over 2,300 ideas had more than 80% agreement. Things like better stormwater infrastructure, more support for people with autism, real community priorities.
How did they handle moderation? Not everything submitted got published, right?
No. They screened for relevance, redundancy, and off-topic or offensive stuff. About half the ideas were published. Quite a few were marked redundant.
Sounds reasonable, but what about the criticism? Do these online things really represent everyone?
That's the main concern raised by democracy tech researchers. Self-selection bias. The people who participate might not be typical of the whole population, just like with in-person meetings. They contrasted it with methods like deliberative polling, which tries for a more representative sample.
Right, so the big question is, will the city actually do anything based on this input?
Exactly. That's the crucial next step. As one expert, Beth Simone Novak, pointed out, you need to turn these short ideas into actual policies, and the city needs to explain its decisions to keep people's trust.
So where does it stand now?
The results are public. Recommendations are going to the county leadership later this year. It's a really interesting experiment in using AI for civic engagement.
Definitely want to watch, see if it actually influences policy.
For sure. Could be a model for other places or a lesson learned.
All right, so that wraps up our AI researched and generated deep dive for today. We covered Anthropic's upcoming voice AI,
Google's VO2 video generator,
the tricky relationship between shrinking AGI timelines and AI safety focus,
how AI might be shaping our brains,
and finally, AI being used to potentially boost local democracy in Kentucky.
It really gives you a snapshot of just how dynamic and, frankly, fast-moving this whole field is right now.
Absolutely. And as AI gets woven more deeply into our lives, from simple conversations to planning our cities, it really makes you think, doesn't it? How do you see these kinds of advancements changing your daily life or our collective future?
What questions pop into your head when you hear about things like Buttery AI voices or AI potentially impacting our critical thinking?
Definitely some food for thought there. Keep exploring, keep questioning. Thanks for joining us on the AI Daily Deep Dive.